Here we go, baby. Off and rolling on episode number 2.
Here we
Episode
are.
number 2 of the Always On podcast. I'm your host, Chase Choate, with your co-host over here, Reed Carter. Reed,
Hey,
looking
everybody.
dapper as usual with your Gator hoodie. I love that you're representing.
Well, I almost wore red, but I thought you might, shit on me for being a Georgia Bulldog fan. But then here you are wearing red.
I honestly didn't even think about that, and now I'm a little disappointed. I truly am, because I'm already in football hell with the Georgia Bulldogs right now. So, speaking of, good little intro in. Let's get into the beatdown in L.A., the Los Angeles murder session that happened. I think Charles Manson was over there in L.A. yesterday, killing the TCU Horned Frogs. What do you think about the 65-7 absolute demolishing, record-setting in ways you
Jeez.
don't want to set?
Well, they started fast. They ended fast. They could have scored more, probably. I mean, Max Duggan missed a few early opportunities, and Georgia seized the opportunity like a championship team does. And unfortunately, I think they may have a three-peat on the horizon, man. They're not slowing down anytime soon.
It doesn't seem so. I don't know how. I think Beck was the guy that came in. Can't think of his first name. The backup. One, it's an absolute atrocity of a championship game when you're in 9 minutes left in the game, and you can give your starting quarterback a curtain call in the championship game. I mean, what an embarrassment if you're a TCU Horned Frog.
Well, I think the worst part about that is that you texted me maybe midway through the second and said, I think we're going to see backups in the championship game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of doubted it at the time, but as the time just kept ticking off the clock, points just kept going up on the Georgia Bulldog side. It got ugly fast.
Worse and worse and worse. Just since we're talking about ticking up, one, the only points TCU scored was that touchdown in the first quarter. And then it was Georgia on, 21-35, a 42-0 run the rest of the game, just absolutely demolishing them.
Man. And I mean, it begs the question, would Michigan have played a better game?
I don't know, because it seemed like Michigan's a run-based team, right? Even though they were able to throw it on TCU last week, I don't think Georgia was going to let anybody win that football game last night.
The speed of Georgia was ridiculous. It was on display last night. That you could tell the separation of athlete between TCU and Georgia. It was the way how fast they got to the edge and constantly set the edge was unbelievable.
It was honestly, it's just one of those things where one of my first thoughts after the game was thinking, is this really what we're going to be in for as the playoff expands? And we're now going to be looking at an 8th or a 9th seed team playing a caliber of team such as Georgia, or Alabama probably could have done that to a few teams if you made it a 12-team playoff. I mean, I honestly think maybe Bama should have been in that stupid 4-team playoff, as much as no one wants to see it, as much as, I honestly didn't want to see it. You throw Bama in that game, they give them a better fight than what TCU just did. I mean, that's sad.
That's for sure. And the piggybacking off the playoff expansion, there's a clip of Josh Heupel going around doing a podcast, and he, says tongue in cheek that he's asked, how would you have, picked the 4 teams for the playoff? And he said, tongue in cheek, but he says, let's put the 4 best SEC teams in. And I'm afraid that that's where we're going to be when we go to a 12-team playoff. I'm not afraid in terms of I don't want to see it, because I want the best football possible, but it's going to be the end of conferences as we know it.
But that'll probably be who the 4 semifinalists are more times than not, besides your Ohio States, Clemson's potentially, and Michigan's of the world. I mean, because top 4 of the SEC this year, it was obviously Alabama, Georgia, LSU, then Tennessee. I mean, I think if you let those 4 teams play it out in a 12-team playoff, especially with everyone healthy, I mean, Lord, Tennessee didn't lose a beat with Milton being in. I don't see, maybe Ohio State squeaks in there, but I don't see any other team that played this year or conference that could match up with those 4 teams right there, except for probably just one, and that's Ohio State at their best. I mean, Ohio State played Georgia at their best.
They did. And I mean, they were, a couple missed calls, if you want to call them that, the targeting in the end zone, away from turning that game on their favor. So it's that's college football. That's why we play the game. That's the joy of it. But the 12-team playoff could very well be an SEC playoff when it's all said and done.
At minimum, I think it's going to be an SEC Big Ten sort of ordeal. Not sure how that's going to work out. Here we go. I'm back. Green screen. And I was trying to do some CGI there, but unfortunately, the FBI thinks I'm, a little too underneath them to be doing that. But either way, what I wanted to talk about was I have the box score open and just some of the discrepancies here that I'm seeing. Almost 600 yards of total offense Georgia had to TCU's less than 200 yards. I mean, that's disgusting. I mean, this is a championship game, dude.
I don't know if you can pull up the text I sent you. It was probably early third quarter. And I think it was 300-something yards in Georgia's favor midway through the third quarter. 300-something yards in Georgia's favor to like 120 to TCU. Like it was, a beatdown start to finish. There wasn't a time where Georgia wasn't moving the ball down the field at will.
Yeah, so at the time you texted me, it was 9:57. Georgia had 413 total yards at that point in the game, so they added on an extra 200 essentially. And then TCU had 133. I mean, just an utter beatdown.
Jeez.
Yeah, first downs. Honestly, this one kind of surprised me. TCU did get at least nine first downs, but that was then followed up by being 2 for 11 on third and then 0 for 2 on fourth, where Georgia was consequently 9 for 13 and then 1 for 1 on fourth down.
That's a tough day.
Tough day.
And that's another thing. TCU didn't get any pressure on Stetson Bennett. I mean, that dude – I know he's 25 years old. He's been drinking forever. So he's, that guy, he's a veteran back there. I heard he's coming back for next season. He said, why not?
He's trying to get a medical red shirt, come back for his 26th season in the league.
He's the Tom Brady of college football. He just won't leave.
But to what you were saying earlier, that they might be gunning up, reloading for a three-peat. Obviously, I want to say no because they lost. They're going to lose a bunch of talent. I mean, Brock Bowers is coming back, though. Washington, their tight end's coming back. I think the only ones gone are McConkey, Stetson, and then Carter, that number 88, their interior lineman, who, by the way, him and his counterpart, I can't remember the dude's name, put on a show. I mean, they just ragdolled.
They sure did, man. That once what was it? The right tackle for TCU got hurt early. It was pretty much game over for that offensive line. They were Swiss cheese the rest of the night.
Oh, dude, honestly, at halftime you could have curtain called this thing and just said, all right, I don't know if you noticed this, but I started noticing it, especially around the 7-minute mark, where Georgia was running the ball whenever they'd get it on their possessions, and it looks like they just kept the running clock going. I mean, literally, like
they may have.
They literally, running backs were going out of bounds, and they just kept that clock running. Where in college, if I'm not mistaken, you have to stop. You have to stop the clock. I mean, I know when you get a first down, obviously that stops it. Where in the pros, I think it's with 4 minutes left, that's when they start, clocking it when people run out of bounds. But it was truly surprising. I was just like, I think they're just trying to get the heck out of here.
They might very well have been. I mean, it was raining inside the stadium last night. They're in what we thought was a dome. Apparently not.
Apparently not.
Inside the stadium.
It's a little more open air than everyone expected, apparently.
Well, I wonder if the food those guys were eating on the sideline during the game got wet while they were eating those chicken tenders, because that was something else, man.
That's when it's an utter just beatdown where you can leisurely walk to your fans at the sidelines and get wings or chicken tenders from them. I wonder if they went back for seconds. Who knows? But
well, of course you did. Why not? I mean, you're in the middle of a beatdown. Second of all, the fans that are field view at SoFi Stadium, what a ripoff of seats. You can't see shit. You got to look up at the ring the whole time. Like, it's terrible. That's
true.
Terrible.
But I guess, dude, if your players are feasting on the field like Georgia's O-line was, you can at least feed them when they get off, you know? I
That's
mean,
true. That's
just
true.
have an
So
all-around party.
is that an NCAA violation? I mean, did they just commit a violation mid-championship game?
As a Florida fan, I hope. But what are they gonna do? Shave off 21 points? Okay. Well, you could shave
How
off
many?
all but
They
14
said
of
how
them and
many?
they still
How many
win.
wings did you guys have? Oh, we had a 50 count. All right, we'll shave off 50 points. Oh, you still win.
It's still a W. Don't matter. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that was by far and away the most points ever scored by one team in
Yeah.
BCS or college football playoff. The highest I can think of is maybe that Clemson LSU game where LSU with Burrow scored, I think they scored like 45, 50.
Well, didn't I know it wasn't a championship game, but the Ohio State the Oklahoma Georgia game with Baker Mayfield, didn't that game when it went into double overtime go like 52-51 or
It
something like
could
that?
have. It could have. But even still, Georgia did that in the regular time frame. They didn't have to go
Yeah.
double overtime.
And to be honest, if it was a shootout, they could have scored far more. I mean, if they needed to
If they
score,
kept
they
the
could.
starters in?
Could you imagine if they kept the starters in? It might have been like 131-7. Like it might have been stupid.
Oh, I mean, they almost dropped 70. They could have if they wanted to. And
I
speaking
thought they
of,
were going to.
yeah,
They
and
got right down the field.
And I just want to do a couple more things because it is crazy, the stat line, just the difference. Georgia was averaging 12 yards a pass, TCU 6.6, literally over half, essentially, for Georgia. Rushing the ball, 5.8 yards a rush for Georgia, which you give that stat line to anybody, they're going to win the game. I mean, if you're rushing the ball for 6 yards a carry, that's ridiculous. To TCU's 1.3. I mean, just total domination all up and down. Time of possession, 36 minutes to Georgia, almost 37, literally 1 second away from 37. 23 minutes for TCU. I mean, literally 2 full possessions, essentially.
And also, Georgia was scoring quick, too. So, I mean, they weren't – there were possessions where I think they had the ball for like 5-6 plays. Like, it wasn't very long at all. Eating up big chunks of yards.
And honestly, the turnovers that TCU needed to beat Michigan, those 2 pick sixes, they gave those.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, as you said, they didn't have any.
No,
I don't think they
had none, but they were giving them. They were giving them away. 3 lost fumble and 2 picks.
Well, to start the game, they gave one away. First drive of the fucking game.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, they did come back and bounce back with a touchdown, but from then on out, it was Georgia the entire night.
Yeah, I mean, start to finish beatdown makes you wonder what this 12-team playoff ends up looking like. Because
what do you think it does to Kirby's legacy here, though? Is he the new Saban?
I mean, I think that's almost proven, right? Like the guy keeps winning. He's built pretty much a dynasty that everyone wants to go to. Georgia's now probably the most feared team in the SEC. I mean, it's hard to say, is he Saban? But is he, Saban 2.0? Is he Kirby Smart? Yes. Like it's a whole new era of football. This NIL era is a whole new era of football. And the people that are going to be able to recruit and capitalize on the NIL at the same time are obviously going to be the winners. And right now, it's yet to be seen, but Kirby so far is on top of it.
Yeah, and the people to really keep themselves out of this realistically was Alabama. I mean, obviously, I know they had 2 close losses, one to LSU, one to Tennessee on the road. And realistically, in my opinion, besides Ohio State, who had the game of their season against Georgia, I think the only one to really probably be able to knock off UGA would have been Bama. But they cost themselves, right? I mean, there's no one to blame. And the real reason I even bring it up is Saban's never won 2 in a row. And who would have thought Stetson Bennett would have done it?
Yeah, he did. Saban won 2 in a row.
Did he really? He went back to back? It must have been early years of Alabama then.
It was 11 and 12.
Okay. Gotcha. See, I didn't even think they had gone back to back. I knew they had gotten to the championship a couple of times.
They were the last team to do it.
Gotcha. Oh, I thought it was Nebraska in
Nope.
94, 95.
With Frazier, no, that was that. I mean, that was the last team after Bama.
Gotcha.
You can fact check me if you'd like. I'm 99.9% sure.
No, I just looked it up because I wanted to make sure you were right, and you are correct. The Alabama Crimson Tide, last team to win consecutive titles, 11 and 12.
It's a big
right on
talking
the money
point on game day.
See, that's why I can't do game day as much anymore, dude, because Lee Corso basically is in full dementia mode right now. Half the time he barely knows where he's at.
Yeah, well, it's a new era for everything, man. For the sport, for the commentary, for everything.
I will say I do like McAfee as an on-air personality. I know you were watching the Field Pass yesterday. I can't really get into that.
That's quite the broadcast.
It's something else.
Those guys. I mean, it'd be like us doing a broadcast middle of the game. They get Tebow on. They call him Jesus. Tebow's real uncomfortable. It's great.
If you can make Tim Tebow uncomfortable, that's just money being made right there. Especially the guy who had a couple of murderers. Well, a murderer for sure. Probably some, wife beaters. The Pouncey twins. God only knows what they were doing.
Yeah,
Making
and
that
he made he made the Hall of Fame too, inductee this year, along with Reggie Bush, Luke Kuechly, Dwight Freeney, LaMichael James, and Eric Berry.
There were some studs. There were some studs in that class. Yeah. Not gonna lie,
that is a big time class. Especially Reggie Bush finally getting some acknowledgement from the NCAA and getting inducted. I mean, the guy only did everything that everybody's doing now, so he
ain't getting that Heisman back. That's for certain.
Well, he doesn't. I don't think he gives a shit about the Heisman. You can melt it down and turn it into whatever you want. He doesn't give a shit.
True. Ironically enough, I'm looking right now. You know who else made it in? Mark Richt on the coach's side.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Mike Leach got fucked. They should have posthumously gave him the win in the bowl game and made him eligible, or just not made wins the criteria for getting in, because Mark Richt never won a national title.
No, but he did win over 70% of his games.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean shit if you didn't win a fucking national title, but neither did fucking Mike Leach. But Mike Leach changed the game. What did Mark Richt do to change the game?
He gave Kirby Smart a heck of a lot of talent when he came in so he could win 2 titles down the road, but that was about it.
Yeah, and then he went to Miami and fucking floundered. Fish out of water.
That was a fish out of water, even though he's back in his hometown and he just couldn't get it done. Dude.
He might be partially responsible for the reason Miami's where they're at now. Because I don't think was he directly after Coker?
No, they had like 2 coaches after Coker.
Was he after dude with the tie that always wore the fucking tie?
Yeah,
Al Golden.
Al Golden. He was at Penn State, I think, before he came over to Miami.
And then was it Mark Richt after him?
Nope, there was another guy before him. There was, I think, after Coker, they had at least 2 or 3. I can look it up real quick just to see.
I'm kind of curious now. I kind of want to know who's responsible for the state of Miami football.
Well, because you had who's the dude? He's actually with Penn State now, right? If I'm not mistaken, their former coach. Because remember you had Randy Shannon there. It's Mario Cristobal now.
There you go.
I think Randy Shannon was before even Rick. I think Rick was actually after Randy Shannon, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I know Mark Richt is in there somewhere fucking shit up. I know he was responsible for some dumb shit because they got him out of there in a hurry.
They got him out of there as quickly as they could. So it was in order. Where is Richt here? So it was Richt, then Diaz, then Cristobal. So Richt is 1 removed. Manny Diaz wasn't too hot. He only lasted 2 seasons.
All right. I didn't realize it was that recent.
Yeah, now I'm seeing.
My apologies to the Richt family.
Yeah, and since Coker, dude, I mean, so it went. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total coaches after good old Coker before they landed on Cristobal. Well, Cristobal is the 7th.
So I mean, Florida's right around the same.
Yeah, I don't like to think. Well, who are you judging it after? After Urban?
Urban.
Yeah,
and Coker and Urban were around the same time, weren't they? They retired.
Oh no. So Coker's ended right as Urban was beginning, essentially, because
All right, so
last year was 06. Urban started 05.
okay. So if you go include Urban in ours, how many have we had?
Well, if you include Urban, it's Urban, Muschamp, McElwain, Mullen, then Napier. So that's 5 total.
Not as bad, and we won 2 titles in that span.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Speaking of titles, dude, that's one little thing. Just I got read on. I'm apparently a Georgia fan now.
Go Dogs!
Go. uh, but no, now officially they have more titles than Florida does. They have 4 to our 3. That's I'm literally
Bummer.
I'm in football hell right now. I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
a bummer. It's a real bummer.
It's definitely a bummer. Before we get off college, though, obviously we talked about the Hall of Famers. I do want to come back to one little thing on that championship game. What do you think the legacy is for Stetson Bennett? Because, I mean, is he the greatest Georgia quarterback ever? Is he going to get drafted? Is he going to be like that Tebow guy where he's basically just known for what he did in
Tebow
college?
guy.
That Hall of Famer, baby.
Well, first of all, yes to the Tebow what he did in college deal. I don't think that he's going to be a pro quarterback. You know, not to slight him and his talent. I just don't think he's a pro quarterback. I don't even think he's a backup in the pros.
Yeah, I mean, if he's there, he's only there a couple of years. I think I don't see his reign being too long.
Let's see. Georgia quarterbacks. When do you want to go back to? Let's go back to the latest, greatest one that we can go back to. All right. Fran Tarkenton.
Oh my gosh, it was Fran Tarkenton.
Oh, come on. You know Fran. He led the Bulldogs to the 1959 SC Championship.
I knew he was old, but Lord.
He was a famed scrambler, College Football Hall of Fame and Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was with the Vikings, had 3 Super Bowl appearances, 33,000 yards in the NFL. He's the Vikings' career passing touchdown leader with 239.
God, he still holds that, huh?
Bud Grant, the Vikings head coach at the time, flatly called Tarkenton the greatest quarterback who's ever played. Now, was that because he was one of the first blacks to ever play? I don't know.
Tarkenton's black? I don't think so. Was he? Fran Tarkenton does not scream.
He's white.
When your name's Fran, that doesn't scream from Harlem or something like that.
We got to edit that out. That was
gold right there. Just making wild claims. First black.
Well, maybe it's because he was white. That's why they said that. It's because he wasn't black. You got Kirby Moore, who led the Bulldogs to the '66 SC Championship.
How about we do this? Go from Stafford, because that's probably really their best in the modern era. I can't think of anybody in the '90s that was that great.
Well, I mean, you got Buck Bellew, 79 and 81. He led them to the Super Bowl. He led them to the national title in 1980, and they were the 80 and 81 SC champions.
I mean, was that not really Herschel Walker, though, who truly did that, right? I mean,
well, maybe. But
just a little guy named Herschel.
I'm only looking at quarterbacks. So
true. I'm just letting you know.
How about
Bully
this?
Baloo.
They got Matt Stafford in here. He's probably the best of all time, first overall pick, best of all time out of Georgia. Never won a national title, though. Never won an SEC title. They didn't have that mentioned in here. Yeah, Aaron Murray was the SEC career passing yard leader. But Phaeton Bauta, do you remember that guy?
Vaguely.
He started against Florida.
He's a white guy, right?
Let's see. I wouldn't imagine. They don't even let me click on him. We're not allowed to click on him.
So apparently he's not.
You take that as you will. You take that. You do with that information as you wish. Started against Florida, threw 4 interceptions, 0 touchdowns, in his lone Georgia start of his career, losing 24-3. They just had to throw him in there. I don't know why. Wikipedia doing its thing.
That makes me happy, though, I will say.
DeJuan Mathis in 2020, he might be a runner-up to Stetson. He started the first game of the 2020 season, was benched, and transferred to Temple.
Yeah, runner-up to the 2-time national champion.
Unfortunately, Stetson Bennett is the best they have to offer.
That's what I'm saying. I think Stetson Bennett, I mean, God bless Matt Stafford. He had all the talent in the world. He's finally come
Dude,
around.
hold on.
But he's probably the best Stetson is.
Hold on, dude. In 1926, Johnny Broadnox quarterbacked the Dream and Wonder team.
Did they even have a forward pass back then? That was all lateral, wasn't it?
Yeah, and in 1920, Sheldon Fitz started the Florida game. That's big news.
That might have been the first Florida-Georgia game.
Wow.
Even though that is disputed.
There's a lot of big-time guys back in the 20s and in the aughts. I mean, you got Richard Von Albade Gammon, who led Georgia to its first undefeated season under Pop Warner, the head coach.
Good old Pop.
Holy
That's
shit.
awesome. A legend in his own right.
James Kidd Huff in 1898. He was a small quarterback, once prevented a Vanderbilt touchdown by tackling the massive Wallace Crutchfield.
Wallace Crutchfield.
He was a prominent guard for the Vanderbilt Commodores football team from 1896 to 1901. At that time, he was, quote, the biggest man that ever played on the Vanderbilt football team, weighing a whopping guess.
Probably like 215 pounds.
Dude, almost 230. He was a big boy.
That's my right leg, dude.
That's some fun facts about the Georgia Bulldogs. And with that, I would love to end our Georgia Bulldog talk because I'm about to throw up.
I was about to say, so I think you're going to conclude that Stetson Bennett's their best quarterback. Probably.
Yeah. College. He probably won't go on to the pros and play like Stafford. But speaking of pros, Week 18 was a little wild. A lot of drama.
Good stuff going for it. There was a little bit of drama. My Dolphins, speaking of the drama, because the New England Patriots stink, were able to squeak in there after the Patriots lost to the Buffalo Bills. We got ourselves
with a barn burner, Chaz, an 11-6 shootout against the Jets. That game featured 3 home runs, a couple ground rule doubles. Oh wait, that was football. Sorry, it was football.
Trust me, no one wants to see the Miami Marlins playing any sport, so it's all right.
That wasn't a Marlins Mets game? My bad.
No.
It was a Dolphins Jets. Dolphins Jets, a different fish, different part of New York. I got it.
Dude, a absolute horrid game. Barely got to see it because, of course, the NFL loves to black out everything in the greater Orlando area. So I got to see the Bucks lose. The Bucks lose to the Falcons. I mean, what's going on there, dude? Ritter, is he some sort of stud? He's got his.
Bucks didn't play anybody in the second half. It was all backups. They're resting for the playoffs. When you got a geriatric man at quarterback, you got to rest up.
When you got the venerable Dallas Cowboys coming up, yeah, you gotta rest yourself.
Which I'd love to talk about them. They looked pretty pathetic. Taking on the Commanders, they managed a measly 6 points where Dak Prescott played a good amount of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up 26-6. Not speaking too much of the what did the Commanders end up? 5-8 or something sad?
5-8-1.
Oh, sorry. No, 8-1. Damn, more respectable than I thought. More respectable.
I can't read your fine print you got here.
Well, I got the good old ESPN playoff machine up, so I can see all the different divisions. Speaking of a
playoff machine, I'd like to talk about a playoff machine known as the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All three
roaring into the playoffs.
Let's just give a round of applause.
The early 2000s. Congratulations, Florida teams.
A round of applause to the Jags. All 3 Florida teams made it in. Obviously, the greatest state for football there ever is, was, and will be.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked.
Amen.
But yeah, no, they're playing the Chargers though. That's Jags turned it on. I mean, 9-8, not the greatest record ever, but who do you think
better than the Bucks? Well, I'd like to pull up the playoff picture here and get a little better look at what we got going on. I know they got a prime time game. Here's a question for you to look up. When's the last time the the Jaguars had a prime time game in the playoffs?
I'll look that up. I have no idea. What would you have to guess if you had to put any put any money on it.
Oh, we might have to go back to what was it, 2015 or 16 when they were decent?
Okay, not too far off. Last time they made the playoffs was 2017, so you were in the ballpark there.
Okay.
But before that, it was 2005 and then 07. So they've had a
Wow.
little bit of a drought.
Well, they take on the Los Angeles Chargers at home Saturday night, NBC 8:15.
I mean, I don't really know if I want to watch that game, to be honest. I will, but like that's not the game that really speaks to me. I think the best one, to be completely honest, is probably going to be either Giants, Minnesota, or Dallas, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay mainly because Dallas. I mean, when was the last time they actually won a playoff game? It's been a hot minute. They get there quite frequently.
That's a good question.
Win. I'll look that up. Who do you think is going to be the best?
Well, has Dak won a playoff game?
That's what I'm saying. I know they've been there, but I don't know when the last time they won it. I really have no idea.
So they lost in 21 in the wild card round.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of losses for the Cowboys. Okay, 2018.
18, yeah.
The wild
2018.
card.
10-6.
Better than what I thought. To be completely honest. I thought we were going to be going back to like the early aughts, maybe at best.
Was that Dak's first year?
I think so, because when did Romo retire? I think Romo was retired by 16, 17, so I would say so. They have made the playoffs, though, quite a bit, 35 times with a 50% win percentage.
Is Dak healthy? I mean, he didn't look too good against the Commanders with a pig mascot.
I know. Well, he's been hurt at times this season. I know that for certain.
Well, he was out with a thumb injury, but I doubt that's bothering him much anymore. But I mean, I don't know if Tampa's healthy enough on offense. If Mike Evans can produce, he's been a little ginger. If Tom Brady has time in the pocket, they should obviously be able to win. The question is, can the Bucs defense play like they should? They've been looking terrible, dude.
Atrocious.
The whole terrible.
Though, I mean, let's be honest. They probably, they don't make the playoffs. I'm looking at it right now. If this wasn't a divisional thing, they don't make the playoffs this year.
No.
I mean, they don't. They might squeak in, actually, now that I'm looking at it, because I'm looking at the playoff machine. Nope, I'm sorry. Detroit would have gotten in over them. Yeah. So they really, for having the greatest quarterback of all time, I mean, I know he's 45, but you think they could, and a defense as good as it was the past few years, like where have they been?
Well, I don't know if you've watched a lot of Bucs games this year, but that offense has looked absolutely stagnant at times. Like there's been times where they'll come out, first drive, right down the field, touchdown, then not score again until the fourth quarter. And you're like, yo, what am I watching here?
Yeah, that's how it was when I went to see them play the Packers. It was a 14-12 barn burner. Woo! And it was literally just like, dude, it was kind of despicable to watch these teams. I'm looking at the record right now. I'm trying to see the most points they've even put up in a game. It looks like 30 against the Panthers week before last. And everything else in the mid to low 20s. Like they put 31 up against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs then put up 41. So, didn't really matter there, did it? But you know what? I think it's going to be a good playoff overall. But this first round, I'm really waiting for the first seeds to get in there.
Well, I also want to know if Lamar's healthy. That's
a good question. You never know. But
honestly, against the Bengals,
and the way the Bengals are playing right now, the Bengals are on fire recently. It seems like once they almost killed a guy on the field, they just said, you know what? Let's turn it on. I mean, what do we got to lose? We're killing people out here. So
literally killing it.
Yeah. Literally. They're stealing hearts and almost souls. So I say that though, and they were on a 2-game skid until they beat the Rams. And they beat
that's what they needed.
I was about to say they beat the Rams 16-7, so it's not like they did that much.
Yeah, tough game.
But I will say though, I'm looking at it right now. They're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-game winning streak. Oh my Lord, I had the whole thing wrong. They lost to the Steelers last game of the regular season. They're on a 2-game skid, Cowboys-Steelers. 23-20, though. I'll give them that.
Who are you talking about?
The Bengals, guy.
You just said Cowboys Steelers. What do you?
Cowboys Steelers were the last 2 games of the season,
for
the
the
Bengals, and they lost it. Yes, sir.
I don't think so.
I'm looking at it right here. Unless ESPN does okay. So riddle me this: why does ESPN do this? I'm looking at ESPN right now. And you want to know how I should have known? Because the second to last game was a canceled game against the Bills. This is me being.
That's where I'm sitting here. Like, they did not play the fucking Cowboys.
Okay, but this is how ESPN puts it on their site, right? They go postseason and then go from first game to last. At the very end, they go preseason. So it goes Bills, Ravens, and then it brings up their preseason schedule. So me thinking like a normal human. Like, oh, you're going to show preseason, then the rest of your weeks.
So how did they round out the preseason? That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was they. I don't even know. Is it from bottom to top to bottom? I really don't know. So they either went loss, win, or win, loss. ESPN can suck it, dude. This is the dumbest way to orientate anything.
Shit, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, now that we got that figured out.
How I'm literally talking about how the Bengals are robbing souls. I don't even know that their second to last game was canceled. Thinking they played the freaking Cowboys.
That's because they literally robbed a soul. They did.
They almost did. They were this close, man. This close.
Well, who is your NFC and AFC champion?
As in, when it gets to that time,
your prediction right now. Who wins the NFC? Who wins the AFC?
Well, I think NFC is honestly probably the easiest one. I don't think anyone's stopping Philly as long as Hurts is healthy. I don't think anyone's stopping them. I mean, they haven't all season. 14-3 is something. And then I think it's honestly kind of just as easy in the AFC. I think it comes down to Kansas City, Buffalo. Buffalo took it from them last year. I think Kansas City comes back. So I think Super Bowl is going to be Kansas City and the Eagles. I think both first-round teams are going to get it. What do you got?
Well, now that you say that, I'm looking something up. When's the last time 2 1 seeds played in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and I should say, speaking of that, didn't the Bengals last year actually beat Kansas City? So I think in the AFC Championship game was Buffalo and Cincy, not Buffalo and the Chiefs. Could be wrong there. I've been wrong on this podcast already. I'm not trusting ESPN to tell me.
It was Buffalo and Cincy last year.
Okay, good. That makes me feel a little better.
So Super Bowl 52 would be the last time 2 1 seeds played. It was the Eagles-Patriots.
Wow. And what Super Bowl are we on now? Of course, ESPN.
41-33. That was when the Philly special happened. So what was that, 6 years ago? Aren't we in like 56 or something?
Dang, it was that long ago Philly won their first Super Bowl?
Was it their first Super Bowl?
That was the first Super Bowl in franchise history, yeah.
Shit.
They've been the lovable losers for a long time, buddy.
Yeah, Super Bowl 50 was the number 1 seeds, the Broncos and Panthers.
Okay.
So it happens. It's not as far-fetched as I thought. I thought maybe that was something that wasn't as frequent.
But what's weird, right? Speaking of, so did you even say who is going to be your AFC championship? Yeah.
So I think the Bills win the AFC.
And who are they playing?
They're going to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and they will beat the Chiefs because I'd like to see the bracket actually. Who's got the easy? That's a good question. So if it were to be Bills beat the Dolphins, Bengals beat the Ravens, that's a 2-3. And the Jaguars win. So it'd be Jags, Chief, Bengals, Bills. Yeah. I think the Bills Bengals maybe in the divisional round might be one of the best games of the playoffs. But I think
or Bills
Ravens,
if that's who it ends up being. Both those teams are solid.
Yeah, but if Lamar's not healthy, I don't think the Ravens stand a chance, dude.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
And so then I got Bills over the Chiefs championship game. In the NFC, I got Niners beating the Seahawks here. I'll take the Giants in the upset over the Vikings,
Okay.
and I'll take the Bucks. So you'll have Eagles, Giants, and Bucks, Viking or Niners out in fucking
No,
San Fran.
I'm looking at it right here. It would be Eagles Bucks.
How? I thought the number 1 seed would get the low seed, the 6th seed.
That's not how. Again, dude, I've been wrong already on this podcast, so the CBS playoff thing could be steering me wrong, but for whatever reason, it's showing it on this picture. It's showing it as 4 and 5 playing to go number 1, and then 6, 3, 7, and 2 playing for each other on the next week. That could be wrong. It's literally this CBS thing I'm looking at, but again, ESPN has already steered me wrong, so I have no faith. But again, yeah, I've gone to 2 sources now, so it's definitely Bucks and Cowboys playing to see who's going to meet the Eagles.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense, dude. Like, what if the 6th seed upsets the fucking 3 seed?
Well,
Wouldn't
I think
the
it's
6th seed play?
well,
I
I think
guess it's
that's
the NFL, so it's different. It's different.
well, and I guess it's because the 2's already playing the 7th, and then they would. But that I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me either now that you're saying it. But again, this is the NFL. Why wouldn't they have 2 buys and then have that 7th or 8th seed or whatever play the first? Doesn't really make too much sense. But okay, I actually like where you were going with that though. So you got the Bucks playing the Eagles. You got the Giants playing. You said the 49ers.
Yeah,
Okay. Did you pick Jags or Chargers?
Jags.
Okay, and then we got a showdown, probably the best game of the second round, which would be Bengals Bills. Who
Yeah.
do you got? Who do you got winning that divisional round then?
Well, it'll be in Buffalo. It'll probably be fucking freezing, snowing. That game will have a lot of emotion. I mean, that game just got canceled 2 weeks ago. That game will have so much emotion.
Real quick, do we see a miracle? I mean, I know this ain't happening, but do we see a miracle and have DeMar come strapped, ready to play and give his heart one more time for the team?
You know, at the very least, Chase, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he dressed out. If he just dressed out and came out with the team, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Now, him playing, probably fucking not, but maybe, dude, that'd be wild. And
Angels
it's
in the
NFL,
outfield.
dude. It's the NFL. Maybe the whole thing was scripted and never even happened.
Yeah.
It's WWE. He's going to come off the rafters in the 4th quarter to make a sack, and it's going to be a huge play. The place will go crazy. He'll get flagged for 12 men on the field. No one will care. He'll do a snow angel.
They'll do the old, what was that? They'll do the old 07 Georgia where they score first and the entire team comes in when they're playing Florida.
It'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole the fans storm the field. It's mayhem. They have to cancel the game again.
That's a good little fun fact. I wonder when the last time a field storming happened in the pros.
Whoa.
Neither here nor there.
I'd like to take a guess. Hold on. I'd like to take a guess at that. That's a fun fact.
Okay. I'll look it up while you're taking a guess.
I'm going to say never, but if it did happen, it happened in 1968. And it was the Packers. And it was the Packers.
I can see that. I can see the Packers storming the field.
Not a bad guess, right?
I'm going all the way deep to the very factual Reddit to see if I can get on this.
Oh yeah, that's going to be truthful, 100%. Don't even second guess your source.
Not ever.
Don't even look it up on a second site.
I'm not. Okay, it says, has there ever been a blah, 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 blah? And it says, I'm not sure a team has done that. I'm pretty sure the Packers have, but I'm too lazy to look them up. Sorry. Okay, that was Reddit for you. Always.
And I was right. According to Reddit, I was right. He said he's pretty sure the Packers have, and me too. So,
well, I think you might have just posted that and then hop back on the chat.
You saw me on my phone over here real quick.
I don't know. I don't think it's ever happened, to be honest, but you never know. You never know. Okay, but let's get back to the divisional round. I like this little exercise. We're doing a little playoff prediction here, pre-playoff prediction. How do you think the divisional round is going to go? We got the
Well,
marquee game of the week, obviously Bengals.
I'm taking
and
the
Buffalo.
Bills. I'm taking the Bills at home in the elements.
Okay.
In Jacksonville, their magic ends in KC because Mahomes has some magic of his own. That horseshoe's wedged way up his ass. It's not coming out anytime soon. Did you see the pass he did against the Bucks where he was down at the goal line and just scrambles and then just at the last second shovels it right over the defender's head for a touchdown? Like, who does that? How does that even happen? The guy's not even real.
He is like
let's go to the NFC then. So I just set up the picture in the AFC. I got the Bills, Chiefs banging it out. Chiefs.
Well, we already know that we have. Yeah, exactly. And go ahead with your divisional on the NFC.
Seattle, San Fran. That game's going to be better than a lot of people think. Seattle snuck in. Geno Smith is out to prove some shit. The Niners literally are just riding Christian McCaffrey. If you can shut down McCaffrey, you might be all right.
Yeah, because
you can make them one-dimensional.
They have been looking purdy though, but
yeah, they have. They have been looking purdy. But I do think that San Fran has the edge. They'll pull it out at home. Weather might be a factor though. It might be still wet and rainy out there in the second sunshine state of California. They've been getting destroyed. San Fran, probably close game. Giants, Vikings, Kirk Cousins playing at 4:30. That's a little late in the day for early bird Kirk. He might shit the bed. I like the Giants in an upset. I'm going to go with a score on this one. I'm going to drop a score here. I'm going to say 31-24 Giants.
31-24. So you're giving them like a sizable margin.
I think they score a late touchdown.
Okay.
They score a late touchdown to win. My game of the week, because I'm a Bucks fan, I got Cowboys-Bucks. Neither team's really lit it up all year. The fact that this is the primetime game of the week kind of pisses me off. I wish it was at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Just get it out of the way.
Well, you already picked the Bucks, so somehow you think
I'm going to
Brady's
take
pulling it out of that.
It's fucking Tom Brady in the playoffs, man. It's tough to bet against the guy.
True.
It really is. At home too. The Bucks got a fucking home game in the playoffs, and they played terrible all year. Like they might have played. I mean, they might have played better on the road than they have at home all year too. That's part of the thing. I mean, the Bucks may come out and just shit the bed.
It's nice when you win your division, ain't that the truth?
I mean, a guy going through a divorce likes to get out on the road. Just saying, not from experience, just heard.
That Fort Worth area's got the prime time dimes. You know what I mean?
It does. A little barbecue, little boobies. You never know. But unfortunately, it's at home, and he's got to hit the 2001 in the spaceship Sunday night.
He might be a little hungover heading into the Saturday night game or Sunday night.
No, it's a night game. It's a night game. He can drink all day Sunday and be good to go. Well, he is. He is in almost 50, dude. Who knows how long those hangovers last?
2001 is right down the street from the stadium, so he might just stop on by before he even goes to the stadium. You never know.
As Bucks fans, we hope that a lot of the Cowboys end up there. So.
I wonder if they got something going on, like, hey, if any players come in here, let's give them an extra special time night before the game so they can be as
they do. There was rumor last year or the year the Bucks won the Super Bowl that some of the Chiefs guys were at the strip club the night of the Super Bowl or the night before the Super Bowl.
If there's one thing Tampa has going for it, it's definitely the strip club. So
that was a big rumor. So I'm going to take the Bucks. Probably an absolute nail biter, last second field goal kind of deal.
Okay.
Probably. So that according to you leaves us with Bucks, Eagles, and Niners, Giants.
It's not according to me. This is according to the NFL, fella.
Well, I think that's dog shit because I think that if the fucking Dolphins were to beat the Bills, they should be playing the Chiefs and not the 3-seed Bengals, or the Ravens were to beat the Bengals, they should be playing the Chiefs and not the Bills. It should be the lowest seed plays the highest seed.
I don't disagree.
That's usually how it goes when teams have buys. But, hey, I didn't make the rules.
But now you got Bucks, Eagles, and you got Seattle and the upset with the Giants. Who do you got in the Seattle Giants game?
I took Niners, Giants.
Oh, I thought you said Geno Smith had something to prove.
I did. Check the tape. I did say that. You're probably right. I did. I do think Geno Smith, Pete Carroll. No, I didn't, bro. Now you're talking me in circles. I'm fucking said the Niners.
But listen, we're running that this thing's gonna be we got a digital documentation here. So we'll see either way. I don't care if you went either team, but you got the Niners and Giants. Who's winning?
I don't even remember now. I'm gonna go with doesn't matter because the Eagles win the NFC.
I was about to say you've already given your NFC winner, so this game means nothing.
Yeah. So how about that?
And then of course we got the Eagles. I mean the Eagles. If the Bucks make it, they're gonna beat them down, dude. I'm sorry. Sorry for the Buccaneers.
Yep, that game won't even be close. So then I got Eagles, Chiefs. I'm gonna take Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs to win another one.
Magic Mahomes, dude. He's gonna pull it out again.
So
I agree.
You think it's? I was going to say, let's run through the same scenario with you. What do you?
I was going to say the only difference I have is I would have two differences. I think Vikings are winning, and then I also think the Chargers are going to upset the Jags. But everything else, I'm pretty much in line. I think that the Vikings would probably beat the 49ers. I think it would be a Eagles-Vikings NFC Championship game. Eagles winning. I think that obviously the Chiefs and Buffalo, I think they're destined to meet. But Bengals, I mean, they might throw a monkey wrench in there, man. I mean, the Bengals are sneaky good. They're sneaky good when it comes. The AFC at this current time and place is the better of the conferences. They kind of have been for about 15, 20 years overall. But no, I think that it's going to be Buffalo and Mahomes, or excuse me, the Chiefs and Mahomes. I think it's going to be that way for a couple more years coming forward, but I think it's going to be Chiefs and the Eagles. Just like you, I'm going to have to say Mahomes, dude. I really think though that he got beat by the Bengals last year. I mean, I know that they have not as many weapons. They don't got Hill anymore, but as long as they got their tight end man, they're going to be as good as Kelsey. I mean, they're going to be so solid. And Mahomes. Mahomes is literally a creative player. Like I've never seen a dude be able to do things like he can. It's kind of ridiculous, like what he does. So I think it's going to be Eagles Chiefs. I think it's going to be a pretty good game if I had to put money on it. But I would say the Chiefs pull it out. Mahomes, Andy Reid, they're taking Super Bowl number 2.
Yep, I agree. Might lead us right into the coaching carousel where Lovie Smith, we didn't even touch on this in the recap of week 18, but he pulled a fast one on the old Texans, didn't he? Going for 2.
He did. He did.
The game and lose them the number 1 overall pick.
And then he subsequently helped out his old team at the same time. So,
man, what a guy.
What a guy. He's a very thoughtful man. Everyone's always said he's a high character, high values. So, of course, he's going to help out his old team.
Well, he probably ends up somewhere as an analyst in college ranks or whether it be as an assistant somewhere in the NFL. But
I could see him being a coordinator somewhere because, I mean, he's pretty good.
What about Cliff Kingsbury? That was kind of shocking news after they just gave him an extension.
So what do you think the problem with Arizona is? I think it's Kyler Murray, man. To be honest, I think he's a poison to that team.
I do too. I think it goes back to them having to put in a homework clause for him to study film. Like, I mean, and then they had to backtrack it because of the PR it got. But I think it starts and stops with him and the fact that a coach was collateral damage. Now they're saying that he's going to have input on the next head coach. It's kind of strange to me. Like, what kind of system are they running over there? Like, where you're giving a young quarterback like that much reign? Like, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that much whip.
No, 2 things. One, he's probably got something on the owner. They probably had like a cocaine-filled night one night at Vegas, which isn't too far away.
A gamer party, dude.
I was about to say.
God night.
Owner slipped up. Owner probably banged a hooker or something like that.
Nice.
Kyler was there. He's set for life. But also, speaking of Kyler Murray being poisoned, my takes on it are if you have DeAndre Hopkins and then you essentially make J.J. Watt retire, like he's the reason J.J. Watt retired. Not saying that he's, the Pro Bowler he used to be, but J.J. Watt and D-Hop are like football guys through and through. And if they don't like you, which it seems like they don't, I think the issue is you. And so, I think Kyler Murray is a poison. I think Cliff Kingsbury is probably blessed to be out of there. He should probably go back to college. He was lucky to get that job in the first place.
Yep.
Probably should go back to college. Now, where do you think he would land in the college ranks before we get knee deep into the pro coaching carousel?
I don't know. You got Gator fans wishing he'd come to Florida, but I think that's a stretch.
I'm still a Napier guy, dude. He hasn't. They
year. Just want him as OC, like not even as head coach, just OC. But
I don't want that air raid. But who do you think though, besides Florida?
Right now, obviously, there's no vacancies open, so nothing notable that he would take. Maybe Alabama as a coordinator. Didn't Bill O'Brien leave?
I think he might have, and that seems to be everyone's role once they get fired is they go coach with Saban for a year and then they get a head coaching job somewhere else. Well. But now USF. I was about to say if USF had
they filled it,
but they filled that. That would have been pretty intriguing.
But I don't know if he'd go there from the pros. That's a huge step down.
But dude, he was so lucky to even be there in the first place, like the pros. Yeah. That's where it's like. Maybe he's now got a little bit of arrogance about him, but he was at Texas A&M, or Texas Tech before he made the huge jump up to go to the pros and didn't do all that hot.
That's true.
I think you're right, but I don't know who. I think it is too late, and I think he's probably going to stick in the pros. To be honest, I think that's the way he's going to probably do it. I don't know what his buyout is. He might just take the year off, and he's a good-looking dude.
I know he just signed a massive extension, so I think he's getting paid handsomely.
Probably is. But so that job is open though. So who do we got as the rumor mill on that? Sean Payton, from what I'm seeing, in Vance Joseph. Sean Payton, if they can get Sean Payton, that'd be a massive hire. Hire.
Well, I'm seeing too, as of last night, Sean Payton's not even on the record as people they've interviewed or people that have even requested an interview. They got some guys that are different coordinators for different teams. Their early front runner, according to Pro Football Rumors, is Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator out of the Eagles.
Really?
That's just
for the Cardinals job?
The Texans job, I'm sorry.
Now who's wrong? Cliff Kingsbury wasn't a Texan. That was
You're right. You're right. Vance Joseph and Sean Payton are the top two here mentioned as candidates.
That's what I'm saying. If they can get Sean Payton, that would be a huge steal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan? Do you think that's even possible? Apparently, he was interviewed by the Broncos.
I think it's definitely. I've heard he's been interviewed by the Broncos. I heard the owner of the Panthers called him. I would imagine. Who do we got? We got Colts, Texans, Broncos, Panthers, Cardinals as the open jobs right now. I would imagine all those teams kind of probably at least want to hear from him. But dude, I think Harbaugh, like I said in the first episode, I think Harbaugh is out the second he gets a job in the NFL, and I don't even think
does he get one. Does he get one though?
Listen, if Cliff Kingsbury can get a job from being at Texas Tech and not really having too many winning seasons, I don't see why not after having back-to-back, at least playoff appearances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well.
But who would it be? So Broncos, you got Russell Wilson if he goes there. The Panthers, they're in a need of a quarterback. Cardinals, I don't see that being a fit with the style that Harbaugh runs versus what Kyler Murray does. I can't see him.
No, that's not a good fit.
I can see him working out of the Broncos. Texans, they have the second overall pick. The Bears ain't going to be taking a quarterback, so you kind of got that in your back pocket. And then the Colts are kind of in shambles, just like the Panthers. They're way up in the air. The days of Peyton Manning are long gone for the Colts.
Yeah, and they haven't interviewed anybody yet. No one has except for the Broncos. The Panthers are interviewing their interim head coach today. They did interview Jim Caldwell, former head coach of the Lions.
You talking about the Broncos here?
The Panthers.
Oh, the Panthers. Yeah.
But other than that, that's the only team besides the Broncos to even interview anybody. The Broncos have interviewed Jim Harbaugh, Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, and they're interviewing Raheem Morris on the 17th.
Which I mean, some of these names, man, just listen. So just so the viewers know here, the Cardinals is Vance Joseph and Sean Payton. Panthers, they got Jim Caldwell, Ken Dorsey. I think Ken Dorsey might be the hot name out there, to be honest. I mean, it helps. It helps when you got one of the best quarterbacks in the league that you're drawing up plays for. But you got Dorsey, Harbaugh, Ben Johnson. I don't even know some of these people. Frank Reich, Mike Kafka, Shane Stitchen, and then Steve Wilkes. I know who that is. But, I mean, some of these guys, like, who are these people? You know what I mean? I don't even know some of these dudes.
I mean, in their respect, they are coordinators. It's not like they're, bench coaches. But
no, but I mean, besides like the Dan Quinns of the world, like a Frank Reich, but I guess that's sort of where we're at in the NFL. A lot of young bloods coming up into the ranks. You know what I mean?
It looks like Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, is up for pretty much every job except the Cardinals and the Broncos. I mean,
yeah, same goes for Harbaugh, it looks like, too. Harbaugh's essentially
interesting.
Besides Texans and Cardinals, this rumor page is saying that Harbaugh's on essentially every single one, too. But Ben Johnson, who is he for? He's the offensive coordinator for the Lions?
Yeah, and I mean, the Lions turned it around this year, man. Now, when you got
I guess when you're going by Lions standards, for sure.
Well, also, I mean, they're pretty talented, man. That team just needs a little better O-line, and they'll be pretty damn good. Stafford and what's his name, Jamal Williams, both of those guys are good.
Stafford's on the Lions. I think you're thinking a couple years ago.
Who did I just say Stafford?
Sorry. Yeah, you said Stafford. He's on the Rams, buddy.
Pretty high.
You keep hitting that pin mid-episode. It's going to keep you on one.
Stafford and them were the good old days.
No, but I honestly, I don't think that those people are bad. Like, if I had to guess, there's no one that stands out. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because I follow college more these days than I do pro. But it just doesn't seem like there's a person out there that's like, oh, besides Harbaugh or Peyton, like those are the two big names. But like, I can't think of like a young guy like Ben Johnson. I guess the one again that just sticks in my brain is Ken Dorsey. I think Ken Dorsey I could see Dorsey going to the Panthers, but like, where are they drafting? Probably top 5, if I had to guess. But they got nobody. I mean, the Panthers is a total rebuild, and I think same with the Colts. At least with Texans, you got some picks. Broncos, you at least have Russell Wilson. Cardinals, I mean, even though I think the dude's a poison to the team, you at least got Hopkins and Murray.
The Panthers have the 9th pick in the draft. So they're number 9.
You're not even sitting that pretty there. Where are the Colts? Do you have the draft list up?
They're number 4.
Okay, you're at least in a little better shape there.
This is according to Tankathon.com.
I trust Tankathon. I trust Tankathon with my life. Gun to my head. I need a stat. Let's go to Tankathon.
They got Chicago, Houston, Arizona right in the top 3. That's the way I remember it.
As long as you get the top 3 right, that's all I care about at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, so what do you think? If you had to guess, where do you think Harbaugh lands? If he gets a job, where do you think he lands of those contenders? Who do you think is his best fit?
All right, so we got to pretend that he's going to the NFL, right? Because I don't think he is.
Okay, so I guess we got the first question out of the way. You don't think he's going to the NFL, but let's go to the second hypothetical. If he is going, and what all these teams offer him, which one do you think he goes to?
Does he have the pick, or
he has the pick of the litter? Every single one of them's given him, said, "Hey, we want you."
The Colts.
What makes you say that? That kind of surprises me.
I don't know. I just see him as a Midwestern guy. That's his kind of football. It's their heart, he can kind of take that same style of Michigan fucks and take that right down to Indianapolis and play that same game of whatever the fuck good old boy ball. I don't even know. He has a weird style, man. I don't even like Jim Harbaugh.
Listen, if you're going to tell me one thing about Harbaugh, it's like I can never picture him at Stanford or coaching the 49ers. That's just something he couldn't do. He's a Midwest guy through and through.
And that's why I think it's the Colts, but I could see him out smoking some grass with the Broncos. Maybe.
Did that reference fly over your head there, big dog? He coached at Stanford and he coached at I'm just saying it gave me a chuckle. You didn't seem to care for it. I wanted to explain it. I wanted to explain it to you.
I got it. I just I was politely moving on.
Whatever.
So we didn't talk about this though because it is possible. What about this neutral site bullshit that's possible in the AFC Championship game? I mean, in my picture, I think that would be a neutral site game. Bills, Chiefs.
And the teams we picked, it would be. So it looks like after, obviously, let's just explain the three options. After the cancellation of the Cincy game and Buffalo game, there are three potential options that would cause a neutral site field for the NFC Championship game. First one is if the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs make it or both tie. Bills and Chiefs championship game would be at a neutral site. So things sit, that would be at a neutral site.
So that's it. We don't have to worry about any other.
The other two don't matter anymore.
Yeah, they both won, so they're both in the. Yeah.
Yes. So in theory, if they get there, it's a neutral site game.
So where the hell do they play that? Indianapolis already turned them down.
I don't know. Maybe Miami. I mean, why wouldn't you? They're going to be out of the playoffs by then. They host a lot of these stupid games.
They should just play it at like a fucking high school field. Just do it. No, they should. Bro, you know what the default neutral site should be for the NFL? Canton. Where they play the Hall of Fame game.
True. But for a game that big, I think you need a true blue NFL stadium. You know what I mean?
Because they want to sell tickets and fucking foam fingers and all that shit. So yes, they would want the full on stadium. They wouldn't want a fucking 10,000 rinky dink fucking deal. But I think it'd be real fucking classic. Like if you go there and you make them wear throwbacks and everything, like you just really fucking pageantry it up. Make them wear leather helmets.
But I don't know. I think realistically, honestly, a kind of a fair neutral site would potentially be either Miami, and you said who turned them down already? The Vikings?
Indianapolis.
Oh, the Colts. Where's the Super Bowl at this year? I think it's in Vegas, isn't it?
It was in Los Angeles last year.
Yeah, my guess is in Vegas. It's what, Super Bowl 58?
Yeah, it is. It's in Arizona this year at Glendale.
Well, how about we do this? Let's let them play in Allegiant. Is that the Vegas stadium? And then whoever wins can just stroll right on down to Arizona so they can play in the Super Bowl there. Make it easy for everybody. Logistics on point. It's just logical, Reed. Just logical.
Let's see.
But I don't know. Where do you think they're playing?
They don't have any updates on it, which is kind of weird.
Well, where would you prefer?
I mean, I could see them playing somewhere like Minnesota or if it's both teams. I mean, if you got the Chiefs and the Bills, you probably want them to meet halfway. Minnesota is kind of middle of the road. They're not going to put it outdoors. They don't want weather to even be an impact if they're going to move it to a neutral site. They want it to be fair for both teams.
Yeah, that's where Indianapolis would kind of make the most sense because that truly is like halfway.
Well, Indy has like a big gymnastics event or some shit that they've turned them down. They said eat shit.
Well, that's the problem you get with all this stuff is you start getting into the problem of like these stadiums aren't just sitting there empty a lot of the times.
Yeah. Well,
there's concerts and stuff. But that's where Miami might have a concert. But I could see Mercedes-Benz. That's not really – I mean, it's closer to Kansas City than it is Buffalo, but they may have the event space for them. But I don't know. That's interesting. It's going to be – listen, it's why I said they should have just played the stupid game last week. I mean, like, I get it, whatever, cry me a river. Like, glad the guy's doing okay, but, like, good night. It was just so stupid.
see. I wonder if a quick glance of Mercedes-Benz event schedule. What day would that be?
Mercedes-Benz. So the NFC AFC Championship game.
Yeah, would that be February 4th?
I am not quite sure. I'm trying to see. I would think so. Because it's just if this is wild card weekend, the 14th and 15th, then you have divisional, then you have the championship. No, so it'd probably be the 28th, 29th of January, if I had to guess. Well, maybe we got maybe these teams in the beginning of the year keep it open just for hope. They have hope that they're going to make it that deep.
The Colts
called it in. They're like, we ain't getting there.
You might actually be right. I mean, that might be why the bigger stadiums like that are left open is for that event.
Just because they're hoping.
I say you just flip a coin and let whoever wins it go off total points scored or point differential or something, dude. Just quit all this bull crap and just find a way to make it work. I can't believe you don't have a contingency plan in place for this. Like, how has this never happened?
Well, I mean, not many people die on the field, I guess, but that's why you should have played the stupid game. I mean, like, again, homeboy, first thing he asked when he got up was, "Did we win?" I think that means they should have played the fucking game because he didn't care. He wanted it to be played. So the guy who actually it affected the most wanted it played. And then you don't have all this BS. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, as time progresses, that'll give us another thing to talk about on maybe the Thursday show. You never know.
Wow. Look at that. A little teaser. Deep tease for Thursday.
A little tease. A little, taste. Just a little taste for the addicts out there. For all two of you who give a shit.
I like that. Well, let's take a quick 5-minute break. We'll find a way to edit this real quick.
All right. Well, that means
actually I got to pee. A little 90-second break.
Yeah.
We can put a music on or something.
We'll put the Jeopardy music on for him. Maybe I can play the Kirby Smart thing.
Oh, maybe you could in the meantime.
I'm going to try and find a way.
Hell of a pregame speech.
Heck of a pregame speech. If I can get this going, ladies and gentlemen, the Kirby Smart speech was something to behold. Something to behold. Let me see if I can't get this going. All right, here we go. Kirby Smart. Here's Kirby Smart.
Trust your preparation. Your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about the fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game. Now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, now, ain't nobody supposed to be cautious. Ain't nobody supposed to be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Fox said on Monday? I sat in that fucking meeting. I wanted to go fucking play right then. Throw your shit up out here. Fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You gonna play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with the ball. The shit's easy. Play the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.
Man,
I mean, go ahead.
That'll make you run through a brick wall.
Yeah, I hate Georgia, and with everything in my being, apparently you might not know that. But
yeah, I couldn't tell. Was that a cheat on that?
Hey, go Hurricanes, baby. But that was honestly, I mean, that's why I'm scared of Georgia for the foreseeable future, man, because no offense to Napier, I truly do think he's going to be the guy. And let's be honest, the greatest of all time, Saban, he don't talk like that in the locker room. But, dude, if there is one guy you want to listen to before a game that'll just make you run your head through a wall, I mean, it's Kirby Smart, because that right there was something else. That was great.
Yeah, that was almost as good as being as smooth as a bubble on the water.
Yeah, we wounded them is not bad. We wounded them, the old Manichee tradition. That's not a bad one, but
top 3. It's got to be.
It ain't that, dude. No, good old Coach Canan wants to give.
That's true. That's true. Coach Canan, and then Eddie Shannon, who that guy. I think he's still alive, right? No, he passed away, didn't he? Rest in
R.I.P.
peace, Eddie Shannon.
Eddie Shannon. He passed, I think, 3-4 years ago now.
Man. And then Palmetto's coach ended up stepping down, retiring. I mean, a little local hometown talk for everybody, but
Yeah, I was about to say
it's a big time name in our area.
Dave Marino, right? Was it Dave or it's not Dan?
Dave, whatever you want to call him. Coach Marino stepped down, and no one else is going to care but us. So.
Well, this will have to be edited out because no one. But listen, you know who's watching this right now? Just us.
So.
a little tidbit for us.
Fair enough.
Speaking of, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have, and I have all this good Wi-Fi. This camera's been going in and out. It's kind of been.
Yours has. How's mine been?
No, yours has been totally fine, but this is very much annoying me. It's happened at least 4 times.
It's that shitty Orlando Wi-Fi up there.
It is. It's that AT&T. Apparently they don't have. I know. Apparently they don't have enough foreigners coming in to work on it.
You should just change your background to like the mountains or something, and then it would explain your shitty connection.
Or I should change it to the border, just like I'm about to change this topic, boy.
Ooh, that was that
was suspect.
A little Chaz Chodabonics for you.
Yeah, just like the well, sometimes you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Just like we got these people trying to check in for the asylum on the border. No, but let's get into some domestic news here. Let's get to some News de Americana, if you don't mind. If you don't want to talk about it, don't bother me. But
are we speaking Spanish? I didn't.
We're heading that way. Have you ever been to a Lowe's, guy? I'm imagining Pinch a Penny has everything in Espanol these days too. So we're just one step away.
I have not been to a Lowe's. I'm more of a Home Depot guy, but I get what you're saying. I went there to get plywood for the hurricane. And, woo! They were lined up at the door early.
But in the domestic news, there actually is big stuff. Good old Biden is gone to the border. First time ever. Kamala Harris, I don't think, has been there. She hasn't been to Europe either, if anyone has heard that statement.
I'd love to follow along, but you got me behind a paywall here. Wall Street Journal paywall. I can't even get on. I mean,
that's your own fault, guys.
Jeff Bezos has the key to the world, apparently. I can't even get on his articles.
Jeff Bezos is the Washington Post. And to be honest, fun fact, listen, if you were signed in, in the always on account, baby, we got that shit already preloaded in the Google stuff. So
I am signed in. You're looking at me signed in right now.
Well, the password should be loaded in there, fella.
Nope, I'm paywalled.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out later. Doesn't really matter.
So I don't know what's going on at the border, just like I like it to be.
You don't know what's
my blinders on.
Nothing's really going on at the border besides a bunch of drugs and people coming across it. And the only thing
nothing new.
Yeah, nothing new. The only thing is that Biden visited it. The big news coming from it is he announced some stupid plan saying where he's going to allow like 30,000 people from Nicaragua, Venezuela, Cuba, and then I think Colombia coming in. Oh, no, excuse me. It's Haiti, not Colombia, coming in a month. So from each country. And then he's going to kind of shut the border down. So he's still going to allow like 200,000 plus people in a month, but he's not going to allow like, the million or so that have been happening lately. So that's it. Apparently he visited a migrant center where literally no one was there. Apparently we went full North Korea propaganda style and stocked the shelves.
That's what I heard is we kind of cleared everything out for him to come through and make it look like nothing's really going on.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're in North Korea and they're going to say the grocery stores are full of food, where it's like, okay, how about we have some honesty here, guys?
Well, we've been doing that forever. We're just now catching on to it.
Yeah, I know. We're just taking after the commies here. We're trying to, come up with the proper spin, I guess.
Well, I mean, really, our news does that with everything. I mean, even if you look at, Go is just general as, say, weather coverage. When they tell you about hurricanes coming, they make it, they put people in, or like Jim Cantori, they put them in like ditches up to their ankles and make it seem like they're in floods. It's like, I'm here, like I'm in Florida. It's not that bad. They
yeah.
always over exaggerate everything because they get viewers and that means ad dollars. It's all a fucking game.
Well, what do they say? What's the term? If it bleeds, it leads. So anything that's ridiculous, they're gonna make it for front page news.
First day at Jeff Bezos journalism school.
First day, yeah, exactly. No, but that's really it, man. Because the only thing that's coming along with that is it seems like finally, after it couldn't be ignored at all, he's finally starting to do something. And I think that was more like a pit stop because he inevitably went to the U.S., Mexico, and Canada are having some summit. These politicians got to justify their BS one way or the other. And
where was that at?
It's happening in Mexico City or Ciudad de Mexico. I think that's how it is.
Oh, so they didn't fly into the airport that the Sinaloa cartel was holding hostage.
Oh, that was in the northern part of the country. Dude, how crazy is that,
flew
though?
Right over that.
How crazy is that? I think that's something they're going to talk about because, like, dude, that is right where the cartels are crazy. And I think the Sinaloa or whatever, that's like just south of the border. Like, it's not very far away.
And they don't give a shit about the government. Like, they're like government schmoverment, dude. We are our own government.
Dude, have you seen the video? This is actually on, speaking of the biggest podcaster in the world, it was on a Joe Rogan video, or excuse me, his show. I'd seen it before, but like, dude, there's videos going around of the cartel members with like 50 caliber snipers just shooting at domestic planes. Don't give a fuck. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
Well, they sieged like an airport. I've seen videos of like cars burning on the streets, which I thought was nothing new in Mexico, but apparently this doesn't happen everywhere or every day.
Every day kind of thing. Yeah.
It's news to me, but whatever.
But all right, riddle me this, dude. You have, I mean, listen, I get it. If you're the president of Mexico, you don't want the U.S. like dictating what you got to do every single day. But if you got the most powerful military in the world sitting right up there, I would only imagine America would be ready and willing to just come on down there and, kick nuts. It's like, why wouldn't you just invite them down and be like, hey, man, how about we give you guys 6 months to a year? We coordinate with one another, whatever, and let's just nip this shit in the bud. Like, you're telling me some Navy SEALs or Marines or Army Rangers or, Green Berets wouldn't be able to, fuck shit up down there for a few months and kill the top dogs? Like, I don't see why they don't do that.
I'd imagine it's probably for the same reasons that we don't fully decriminalize pot in this country. I mean, those government officials down there, the handful that make decisions, are making an ass ton of money from cartels. I'm just willing to bet. I mean, there's a reason cartels still exist.
Yeah, but I think they're in the fentanyl. I mean, because that might explain why, like, the Mexicans themselves don't care. But I could see, like, I would imagine Republican, Democrat, like, I think any president, if Mexico just gave them like a couple of months.
I don't think Mexico will do that. But I don't think Mexico wants to do that because of all the money that they're making from the cartels.
I guess
they buy them off. I mean, they buy them off for, basically to let them do whatever they want.
But man, how many cars do you have to see exploding in the street and just mayhem being caused for like?
Well, it doesn't matter in Mexico because now
yeah,
but they're making cars in Mexico now, so they don't even care. They just pull another one off the lot.
I guess it's just like, dude, when is the juice not be? Even if you are corrupt, it's like at some point, it's like, dude, you got to do something.
Well, I mean, maybe you go to the guy and be like, listen, we'll just chill out. We'll release the guy in like a week. Just relax. We got to make good for the papers. Like,
yeah,
that's probably the conversations they're having right now. Like,
but it kind of goes to the point that, like, apparently they don't want it to an extent because, like, dude, if they were all chummy with the cartel, well, you don't arrest El Chapo's son. You know what I mean?
There's probably a certain portion that's good with it that are, kind of the people that can make decisions or lobby to make decisions. But you still have the people that make waves and don't like it. It happens in our government too. You got certain people that Epstein got away with it for so long, and then finally the walls caved in. Too many people, too much heat, kind of thing. Like it. Eventually,
something at least happened. I mean, no one knows.
But eventually you got to make an arrest, right? I'm sure El Chapo's son got away with a lot of shit and finally fucking ruffled too many feathers. And they're like, all right, dude, like, you can't do that. Like, that was,
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
know. It's strictly speculation. I don't know what the fuck's going on outside of Bradenton, let alone Mexico.
Well, yeah, but that's where it's just like starting to get a little wackadoodle down there. And then not to mention the whole drug thing that comes on top of that, because not even like weed. I mean, I'm talking about like fentanyl, dude. How many Americans have to die from fentanyl before we finally go, hey, you know, we don't give a fuck what you want. It's either we're cutting you off completely or you're letting us come down there and take care of business. And I'm not saying the military can like end it in a night, but they could at least stop they could at least close down the border. That's another thing, dude. How has that not led us to just close down the border? Just to be like, hey, we get it. Liberals want all these people to come in because the situation they come from sucks. But at the same time, wouldn't those same politicians be up for like, hey, 100,000 Americans have died plus last year of drug overdoses alone. Like, don't we kind of need to take care of that first before we let these dudes in? It's like most that's coming through the border.
I don't know. It's such a complex issue, right? It's such a complex thing to discuss because drugs are going to happen either way, right? That people are, if they're not dying from fentanyl, they'll overdose on heroin. If they're not overdose on heroin, they'll overdose on fucking pain pills. Like it's all fucking going to happen one way or another in that sense. But why?
It's a little harder for the others.
Why help facilitate it, right? Like, why?
I was about to say, I don't know if you've ever seen the dosage it takes for like to die off heroin.
Well, I've seen the videos of like cops doing traffic stops, and they just happened to touch something that it was on, and they fucking overdose. Like, they didn't even do it; they just were exposed.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. It's like literally a couple of little. If it's like sand granules, it's like if it's like a little vial, dude. Heroin, it's like halfway full, 3/4, or it's a third full. For fentanyl, it's like a little grains.
Yep,
and it's like you're dead for the average person.
It's like a grain of salt, right? Like that much can kill you.
Yeah, and that's where it's like, dude, I mean, I get your point where it's like, hey, if people can't have drugs, people can't have pills or heroin, they're going to drink themselves to death. But you know what? At least it takes a little bit longer to drink yourself to death than
you have a chance to fucking fight again, and you have a chance to at least realize, I'm actually slowly killing myself. I should probably stop.
Yeah, because at least you
give yourself a chance.
Well, and to the pill side, like, dude, America's kind of shut that shit down for the most part. Obviously, people probably can still finagle it, but like, it ain't like it was when we were in high school, where you could just
I'd argue it's just as bad.
I don't think it's as bad because, dude, I think if you were able to get pills, you probably wouldn't have all these people dying of fentanyl. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a drug addict and you're trying to get some sort of opiate, if you can't get the pill form, you're going to go get fentanyl. So it's like, I think that avenue for the pills is probably closed to a lot of people. So they're going to get fentanyl. They're dying.
I'm not sure opiates are the big deal anymore. It's more like Xanax, which are barbiturates, or even Adderalls, those kind of amphetamines. And a big thing are I'm just saying in terms of what people are getting from doctors and things nowadays. It's not so much pain pills as it is, these antidepressants and fucking mood stabilizers, psychotropic drugs and shit. And those are far worse.
Adderall, they'll
go ahead. Yeah. They'll put you on fucking mood stabilizers and then throw on some Adderall on top of it. And it's like, your brain, I don't even know how your brain could function, let alone even keep you coherent. I don't know how people even operate.
Well, that's the thing. Generally, I think you're totally right that there is just a overall pill problem, whether it's opiates or what was the one you said? Is Xanax?
Barbiturates, Xanax. Yeah. Xanax, Valium, all those.
New word for me. I didn't even know that. Word of the day, people, barbiturates. Go look it up. You're right. I know. Look at Dr. Carter over here.
80-20.
80-20. Yeah, it's probably not even called barbiturates, for goodness sake.
You might as well Google it while you're on the topic.
I'm gonna let that one ride. I liked where your head was at. But No, I think, yeah. But I mean, I think that comes down to what we were sort of alluding to last week when it came to the DeMar, oh my gosh, why can't I think of it? DeMar Hamlin ordeal, where it's like, dude, a lot of people are just mentally not that tough anymore. It's kind of sad. So they need like an antidepressant or an ADHD medication to get them by. And it's like, dude, the world ain't that hard. Like I don't live the easiest life, but I'm just sitting here recording a podcast, and it ain't that hard to get through. You know what I mean? But whatever. It's crazy.
Well, it's neither here nor there, I guess.
Did you figure it out? Is it barbiturates? Is that what you're looking up, guy?
Trying to. It's not a barbiturate.
BAR.
It's not a barbiturate. It's benzodiazepine.
Gosh, 80-20 coming through. 80-20 Carter, baby. 20% right, 80% wrong.
Xanax is not classified as a barbiturate. Rather, Xanax is a class of drugs known as benzodiazepine. Benzodiazepines and barbiturates are similar acting drugs. They're central nervous system depressants. They both induce drowsiness and are used to treat insomnia and seizures. So 80-20, but I mean, I was right on that fine fucking line. They're basically the same thing.
What are drugs that are a barbiturate? Let's go to that, because now I'm curious. I have no idea what a barbiturate is.
Well, barbiturates are intermediate action, far more potent than benzodiazepines and cause sedation the following day too. Benzos are selected for intermediate action, usually to stop hangovers. So you can take a Xanax to stop your hangover.
You can have it take a Xanax to make your hangover that much, or make your drinking that much better, I guess. I've seen it done.
So list of barbiturates. They're ultra short acting. Most of them are ultra short to short acting.
What are like some names? Do they have like Xanax? Obviously,
you're not gonna know any of them, unfortunately. They're all weird. Like some of the short actings are Nimbutal, Secantol, some ultra shorts are like Pentothal. Those are like, I don't even know what these are for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some long actings. Luminol is a long acting. Metharbitol, I don't know. These are all street names. Let's see.
I just keep thinking of tough acting, tenactin when you say long acting. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of foot fungus over here.
I see. So like a phenobarbital is a long acting, and that would be called goofballs on the streets. Like
goofballs. Okay, I know a couple.
Yellow jackets were penobarbitals. Those are.
Why are people taking that on the street? You think?
Short acting.
It's an antidepressant. Why would you want?
Well, they can cause, let's see, some effects on a decreased inhibition, inability to focus, problems with coordination. I mean, they definitely have side effects with sedation and shit.
Well, I mean, at least, good God, at least the opiates get you all zonked out, you know? I mean, I'd rather have that than not being able to walk and not necessarily be that high. But I don't know. You know, this ain't my life.
Benzos are more popular on the streets.
Interesting. Have you ever? I've never even taken like a Xanax or anything. I don't even know what that feels like. I've never taken any of these things.
They make you feel really good, but if you take too much of it, you literally black out.
Well, yeah, because I've known a lot of kids in my old fraternity would take a little Xanny and then go drinking, and dude, it was just like night termite for half of them. It was just like they didn't know anything that was going on.
Yeah, and it only takes a couple drinks if you're drinking, dude.
I've only been truly blacked out a couple of times, and it scares the shit out of me every time, dude. The last time I got blacked out was like a couple of years ago now at a wedding. Dude, that scared the crap out of me. I woke up. Thankfully, I was where I wanted to be. But I was like, dude, I don't know. I was $400 in the hole. I gave somebody $400. I don't know
for what
the hell happened. I don't know. I hope it was just I have no idea, dude. I hope it wasn't for anything nefarious. I mean, worst case, I'm hoping I was either trying to buy some drugs or buy some puss, but I have no fucking idea. I don't know if I was trying to get robbed. I might have just given.
You might have got robbed. You might have got robbed. You don't even know.
I might have been trying to get $40 out and then pulled 400, and the guy was like, "Oh, okay, here you go, take it from me," because I didn't find that $400. I had to claim it as stolen, and that's how I got it back.
Wow, good for you. At least you got it back.
Bank of America, baby, they're honest brokers.
Yeah, they probably saw the video of you blacked out pulling that money out. They're like, yeah, he definitely didn't spend that. And remember
I
it.
so badly wanted to see that video, dude, just because God only knows what was going on. I'm surprised I was even able to plug in the fucking numbers. I probably wasn't. All I know is that some dude, some rando drove me home, and I think I gave him $400 for the pleasure. So that's probably what happened.
I'm not sure I know what you mean by the pleasure, but I'll
The
leave it at
pleasure of
that.
driving me home. I hope it wasn't for anything else,
Huh.
dude. Let's
You
not
said
fucking go there.
I mean, we'll check the tape, but you said I gave some guy $400 home for a ride home and for the pleasure. You didn't say the pleasure of driving me home. You just said for the pleasure. I mean, that could mean. I assumed he gave you a hand job. I'm just saying. I assumed that.
I hope not, bro. One, if I'm paying $400 for a hand job, dude or woman, I at least want to be cognizant enough to fucking realize I'm nutted. That was like a total loss. And two, I just hope not, because that would fucking suck. Let's hope there is no tape of that if that actually did fucking happen.
Only time will tell.
Yeah, and I think time ain't gonna do shit, because I did try and go to that ATM and get a fucking video thing from the security guy, and he was like, yeah, that's not happening. But I bet Bank of America might have figured it out, because I told them where I went. I mean, and they know where that money got pulled from, so they probably saw the video.
That's great. That's kind of shitty they wouldn't give it to you, but I get it.
I mean, I didn't ask Bank of America. I was just trying to keep that one on the low. Hopefully it was really bad, and I had like a gun to my head or some shit, and I was just playing cool. Because I was in South Beach, so could have.
Oh my God. Maybe you did. Maybe you did.
Odds are I didn't, but I like to think of it that way. It's better than thinking I paid someone $400 for a hand job. So,
Well, you're the one that said you got the guy got the pleasure. I don't know. Maybe you gave him the handy and paid him $400. Who knows?
I hope not. That would be terrible. That would be the worst shit ever. I hope not. All right. You want to talk about any of this other stuff before we go here? One thing I do want to bring up, because I thought this was crazy. And I don't think it's paywall. I thought we all had the password, so I'll have to share those with you. And it's definitely going to be paywall because it's New York Times. Because those are the two papers that I have is Wall Street Journal and New York Times. So you'll be able to get those eventually once I figure that shit out. But there was a lady who lost her job in Minnesota for showing a picture of the Prophet Muhammad. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Can't do that.
They said it was clearly Islamophobic. Islamophobic.
Well, clearly. I mean, you can't show. Could you imagine? I mean, what if she would have showed a picture of Jesus? The Christians would have been up in arms.
At the art history class? It's an art history class, bro. And it's like she can't show a picture of Muhammad in America.
How good was the drawing? Was it like a parody? Because they hate that shit.
No, dude,
and they don't even like pictures. Like,
no, what's funny is it's actually like a historic picture of Muhammad. I'll bring it up. I'll give you the way to Google it. It's really like, it's kind of a bad picture because it was drawn like 300, 400, 500 years ago. It's kind of crappy. But no, that's what they did. And it was like this lady, after the fact, apparently there was like, 3,000 signatures saying that she sucks. And they fired her.
I'll go to the Fox News article where I can actually read it.
Well, Yeah, so the image is literally called A Compendium of Chronicles. It was, it was done by this Arab dude. And it is a horrible, horrible picture. I'm bringing it up right now. I'm going to see if I can't show it over to you. I don't think I'll be able to.
Will I get my place bombed if I just Google picture of Muhammad?
No. I don't know.
Picture of Muhammad the Prophet.
Picture of Muhammad.
Images. Is it?
Bro,
Is it this one that has him surrounded by fire? Because that's pretty cool.
No, so literally just put Just put Compendium Chronicles Muhammad, and it's literally
How in the fuck do you spell that?
dude, it's Google. It's gonna do it for you.
Say it again.
Compendium, COMPE,
Nah, now you're spelling it. Like I just wanted to try it. Compendium.
and then Indium,
Right.
and then Chronicles, and then put Muhammad. And once you go to images, dude, so anyone out there who's listening, again, it's just Reed and I, we know, but it's okay. One of these days. But once you put that in, go to images, and it's like a winged lady on the left-hand side, and then Muhammad sitting there.
There's a couple cool ones, though. I'm liking this one here. There's a fucking exclamation point that came up, dude. These
things, man.
These Islamic sons of bitches, dude. They got everything on lock. They got Muhammad with 4 camels bowed down to it. Like, this is crazy. I see the winged angel pointing at him while he's got his head down, pouting.
That's what it was, bro. That's what got this lady fired, that picture. And
what about the picture? I mean, they got pictures of Muhammad surrounded by cool clouds and people following him. Like, you could have showed so many cooler ones. There's Muhammad riding a horse. There's Muhammad riding a minotaur, but the head of the minotaur is a woman.
Well, that might have been a little bit because didn't he have like 50 wives? So that might have been a little more on the point than we think.
Good for Muhammad, dude. I mean, I didn't know the guy personally, but how about this one?
I didn't know the guy personally.
This one would have got her in trouble. There's a picture of what appears to be 3 different kings or queens and some black figure with like a broom roasting dark-colored individuals that are hung up in a fire. It's very interesting. I don't know this. I mean,
you know what I just realized, bro? And you might not be able to see it in your little phone, but there's like a chat function. We could have just put this thing in a chat, like the URL file, so you could just go click on it. But whatever.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. There's another one of Muhammad being swallowed by a fish. I mean, Muhammad
there's
must
a lot
have
of these things. Muhammad was a popular guy.
Life.
You may not know this, but Muhammad was a popular guy. Still is. Still is. A lot of people over there, and good old. I was
gonna say not over here.
Well, apparently in Minnesota, I don't know. They apparently really like him there. That's why they called him Minnesota Muhammad. You know, he's a big fan of the Midwest. He wanted to get out of that dry ass desert, so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Minnesota, enjoy the cold for a little bit.
I mean, hell of a change of pace, I guess, for the prophet.
That's 0 to 100 real quick if you're going from, Arabian Nights to a cold fucking winter day.
Well, at least they're not like the Mormons that believe that their prophet was just hanging out in Utah in the mountains or whatever the fuck he was doing.
I mean, dude, he chose at least a good spot. Utah. If it was, I think it was Massachusetts. But if it was Utah's a hell of a spot. I'll tell you that.
I can remember my grandpa telling me he was like, I remember when they founded that religion. It's all bullshit.
I thought that was Scientology, dude. That was actually fucking done when your grandpa was alive. That was the 60s.
Yeah, that's wild. That whole thing is crazy. With Ron L. Hubbard or Hubble or whatever his name, Hubbard.
Yeah, and it's like
L. Ron
Hubbard, and it's like a dragon god or something, and he's like a volcano guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Whatever. He sounds fucking cool though, but that's a cult. That is an absolute cult.
I mean, no offense to Christianity, I would say that's the one.
That's a cult too.
That's the one I reside. I'm with my Christian peeps if I'm with any of them, but that one, dude, it's like just because it's old, still doesn't make it weird that it was a guy who literally apparently died for 3 days and then came back. It's like, oh, that's bold. Yeah. A bold move, guy.
Well, I feel like they just ran out of storyline and they were like, let's just make him die and come back. Like, if people believe it, then this story, I mean, we got a blockbuster on our hands here. And sure as shit, fucking people believed it.
Boom. Right to the top of the charts. It's been there for a hot minute now.
When did they start telling that fable?
When did they start telling it?
Yeah, like when did they start? I mean, obviously it was when people fucking were eating goat shit and called it fucking steak. I don't know. It was,
Well,
people were
I
clearly
mean,
retarded.
our calendar's kind of based off it. So year 0 is when Jesus was born. Not technically, but close enough. So about 2023 years.
Weird.
I
Very
know
weird.
it's weird. All right, you want to talk about this classified document thing? Or do you want to go straight to the Pope's dead since we're talking about
I would
talking
like
about
to discuss
Christianity?
that. I mean, does the guy get a proper burial? Wasn't he involved in some of the biggest scandals ever in the fucking Catholic Church?
I don't know, dude. You listen to people like Joe Rogan and comedians, they're going to make it seem as bad as ever. So who the heck knows? What Catholic Pope hasn't touched a little boy? Probably.
That's not a problem. Like,
I'm not saying it isn't, but
and then they just like when they get in trouble, they just move you to another church. So how many times, like, I don't know, wouldn't it be awkward if you're like in Catholic school and all of a sudden they got a new teacher and it's like he's from St. Louis and it's like, I got transferred. It's
that's
like, well,
why it's kind of
why? Like,
why
what
it's
are you doing?
a little weird why they do it. That's why I would, if I'm any type of Christian, it's a Protestant where the pastors can actually have sex. So I ain't down with the Catholic vibe. That's a little odd to me. I don't know why they got to be celibate. Why did God say that?
I'm going to come out in episode 2 and just say that I'm not buying into any of it.
You're an atheist?
Say that. Yeah, I'm just going to go out and say it, dude.
Well, you're buying into something then. You're buying into nothing.
I mean,
that might be wrong too.
It's all a gamble, and I've never been good at gambling anyway, so I wouldn't take my advice.
I was about to say that means
I did win my pick'em this year, though.
I was about to say that means when you're dead, you're taking we're all taking a pretty big gamble once we die. So if it's nothing, that's not too terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, if I know I'm about to die, I might just go ahead right there and hedge my bets and just start.
I would only imagine
everything.
You probably fucking will. I bet there's a lot of diehard. I bet you good old Joe Rogan, diehard atheist, is going to be a little bit contemplating when he is on his deathbed.
Yeah, you might as well just buy into everything then. Bring me a Quran, bring me a Bible, bring me a fucking Hebrew scroll, bring me the fucking everything.
Dude, this camera, it's like number 6 here. I'm cutting in and out like a satellite TV right here, bro. It's ridiculous.
Must be raining up there in Orlando. You got direct TV.
It must be. I don't know what the hell is going on.
It looks like you're in a closet, so I mean, you don't even know what's going on outside.
Yeah, I'm trapped in a closet. I'm like R. Kelly in this motherfucker, bro.
I wouldn't brag about that. He peed on little girls and shit. The guy did some stuff, dude.
Whatever. Still don't mean that song ain't funny as hell.
Yeah, well,
I don't fucking know. What do you want me to talk about here, guy?
Yeah, well,
I'm not.
You probably still listen to Michael Jackson and fucking love it.
I love Bill Cosby. Michael Jackson's my main man. I mean, I'm down with them all.
Yeah, I heard you got Bill Cosby's cocktail book too. You got all his recipes.
Yeah, he makes a hell of a cocktail. A lot of people though get really just out of it. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but
what a poor attempt at comedy we just had there.
Listen, dude, if you're offended by that, well, as this show
just poor comedy. It wasn't even good. Like, it's just both of us terrible. We whipped, swing and a miss.
I don't think that we're gonna ever be the greatest comics on here. We ain't stand up, dog.
Yeah, well, we're not even. We're worse than the bottom comic. We're worse than the worst.
Yeah, we'd probably get booed off stage pretty fucking fast if we were on a comedy.
I think our views say that in themselves. 7 views, not the best for week 1.
3.
Nowhere to go but up from here.
I was about to say we're at rock bottom, boy, but there's nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Speaking of nowhere to go from up, we already talked about the cartel thing. That was a good one. Well, I don't know. Do you want to wrap this thing up? I mean, we're about almost 2 hours into it. We've been going on for a hot minute here.
Yeah, I mean, looks like we got looks like we had a pretty good show, pretty jam-packed.
Pretty jam-packed. A lot of good football news in there. We touched a little bit on America. We, tickled the taint of American news. Didn't get much.
The Kevin McCarthy thing can fuck off. No one even cares.
No one cares about McCarthy. The only thing left really that we haven't touched on is two things. The Brazil riot thing, which I really don't care about. I don't care what happens in Brazil. They can do the Macarena whenever they want to. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't. I didn't even care when we stormed our own capital. I don't even care if they stormed Brazil's. We could storm the capital in Tallahassee. It doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, I will say I cared a little more when it was our own capital, but I don't really want to talk about that either. Do you want to talk about these classified document things? I don't really know if it's that big of a story, but
well, you got a nice scoreboard right here. I can kind of break it down if you want me to.
do it.
The total number of documents found, classified documents found between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the scoreboard reads as followed. Joe Biden with a whopping total of 10 documents. Donald Trump, 325. Edge Donald Trump. Some top secret documents were found for Joe Biden. Now, out of 10, what is some? Who knows? For Donald Trump, they have a definitive number of 60, which is not a really good percentage overall, if you ask me. I mean, it's less than a quarter.
True.
Joe Biden, they have to mention this in the stats, is cooperating. They want you to know that. He's cooperating.
Well, you can't be shitting on Donald Trump the entire time and then not cooperate. You better do it quick.
And Donald Trump is under investigation for obstruction.
Kind of
Foul,
fair.
vulgar man. And Joe Biden's lawyers found and alerted the archives. A little get ahead of it kind of move, if you ask me. Little preemptive strike, knowing that this report was probably out there in the press. And they wanted to get ahead of it, I'd imagine. Politics are a dirty game. Donald Trump, the archives first reached out to Trump's lawyers. They did not, in fact, reach out to them. So Donald was found with them in an he received them in an ill-gotten way, I'd imagine, is what they're leaning towards in this scoreboard here.
Well,
Joe just accidentally forgot him in the closet.
I was about to say, doesn't it kind of beg the question that apparently the National Archives, and listen, I'm no Trump guy, but apparently the National Archives had a real tizzy about Donald Trump's 300 some odd documents, but didn't give one shit to talk to Biden about his 10.
They knew they
it's been sitting there for a decade.
Yeah, they knew that Joe or Donald's were going immediately. Joe's, they just They'll turn up, dude. Somebody just put them in the wrong spot. We'll find them.
Here's my question. What do you think the documents even were?
Well, it said that some of them had Ukraine information on them. And interestingly, Biden's. And interestingly enough, that's where Hunter Biden was doing business. So
Would those have been the top secret ones?
I mean, I would imagine that's probably what they mean. And that's why I just said some top secret. Like, what does that mean? What does some top secret mean?
Yeah, how do you have a specific number for Trump, but there's only 10 of them, dude? Is it 1, 2, 3? Like how many is it?
Well, it's only some because they're top secret. I mean, if we told you, we'd have to kill you.
Yeah,
we could tell you. We could tell you, but we'd have to kill you.
Dude, I just wish, and here's my thing. I mean, I get it, maybe for the top secret ones, but why don't they just release the damn documents for both parties and just be like, hey, here's what we had. Like, for all we know, it was gas statements. You know what I mean? Like,
right? Or just don't even mention it to anybody, because it's like at this point, it seems like you're just trying to stir the pot on bullshit, right? Like it's like, oh, we found documents. It's like, bro, it could have just been like you said, just receipts from the fucking White House bookstore. Like, it might not even have been a big deal.
Well, it is funny, dude, and this is the most politics thing ever. You definitely have probably seen a lot of Republicans who didn't give one shit about Trump's documents now saying, we need to see those 10. And the vice versa with Democrats saying, we need to see those 300. Now saying, it's no big deal. It's no big deal that he didn't have those documents. No, dirty game. And it just shows how, dude, these cats flip on a dime so fast. And I don't understand how people, like, there's enough people out there that buy it. That's what kills me. Is it's like there's at least, and it's not that many relative to all Americans, but it's like there's at least enough people in both those cat spaces where it's like they're pissed right now that Joe Biden or, that Donald Trump hasn't given up these documents, but they don't give two craps about the other side, their side. And it's like, dude, who are you?
Well, and that's the pandering fucking nonsense that I can't stand in politics, dude. And it's funny to me. We'll see it here rev up here shortly in the next fucking 6 to 8 months of we're getting into 2024 and it's time to fucking elect again. It's like, Jesus God,
I'm not gonna lie though, I am ready to see what happens in the Republican side because I'm assuming Geriatric Joe is going to run again. But dude, the Republicans
why?
Well, why not, bro? I don't know. The Democrats don't have too deep of who's coming out of the wings to run for the Democrats. Not that the Republicans have some strong bench, but at least they got a couple of people.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
For who? The Democrats?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, because
other than Gavin Newsom, but
he sucks. Who's after COVID? Who's going to want that guy besides California?
Well, that's my point. It's like he's probably the biggest name in the Democratic Party that would have the legs to run a presidential campaign, but even then it'd be fucking dog shit.
Well, and then they had St. Cuomo there for a couple of years, but then apparently he was grabbing ass and kissing face for anyone that wasn't his wife. And so,
maybe one day that'll be what makes this country back to what it should be is we stop worrying about dumb shit like that. Like, who cares if he's cheating on it? Who gives a fuck, bro? Can you run a country? Can you make good decisions other than cheating on your wife? Like, can you? And people equate the two. It's like people equate the two. But people will equate the two, bro. They'll say, well, he cheats on his wife, so he'll cheat on the country. It's like, dude, no, the guy just likes pussy. Like, he just likes to fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
but I think that also
businessmen too are probably out. Like, successful businessmen are probably out gallivanting around most of the time, doing blow and shit like that. Like the big time Wall Street guys and all that shit. Like, it's not far fetched to think that a successful businessman is probably a little nefarious.
True. I just don't know if a successful businessman correlates perfectly to being a good person running the country.
Well, there's a fine line. There's a fine line.
But no, yeah. Well, my only thing is like, is this really all we got? Like, okay, if we're all like, dude, is the cheating dude cheating on his wife or vice versa with a woman? Is like, is that really the best we can do out of 330 million people? We can't get someone who hasn't cheated on their significant other and can still do the job.
In the same token, though, is that even really a big deal? Is that a qualification? You must be faithful to your wife to be a good politician and to be able to run the country?
I think there's something to be said that it's, it's not the best quality to have. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, is it game ending? Probably not necessarily, but at the same token, if I have a choice of someone who didn't cheat on their wife and is faithful to them and can still do the job, I'd probably prefer them. You know what I mean?
But that also goes to the token of you're never going to find the fucking perfect person. So let's stop getting hung up. My point to this is let's stop getting hung up on flaws that are human flaws, right? Like fucking, oh, he's orange skinned. Like Donald Trump, that's a big thing people shit on that in the little hands. It's like, bro, why don't we talk about the fact that he ran how many business into the ground and fucking scammed our tax system? If that's the shit you want to get into. Like, that'd be something to talk about, other than the fact that he said that he grabbed women by the vagina. Like, he fucking cares.
Was a very reputable company, and it did immaculate business. All it did was win. Just like,
just ask him.
What is his latest thing? What did Trump do recently? Trump
the
cards.
NFTs.
NFTs. Yes, the NFTs.
Good God.
Dude.
What a joke.
Those got sold pretty quickly.
Yeah, that shows you the fucking rubes that live in this country, dude. And the fact that people are buying into that dumb shit.
It's a hell of a world out there. Just like people were buying that Joe Biden actually knows what's going on from minute to minute. It's like, dude, Joe Biden is like, I mean, you can say whatever you want about Trump, but at least he knows what the hell's going on from one moment.
Yeah, he actually was running things. Biden's a figurehead, dude.
I don't know if Trump was running things, but I don't think either of them were. I mean, how much do these cats probably run things anyway?
Trump at least was involved in, I'd say, a good majority of day-to-day operations of a presidency. Yeah. And Biden, I guarantee you, is just a figure. He's like the CEO of a company that's literally on his way out, like getting ready to retire. He's already delegated all his responsibilities, and all he does is just come to the office a couple days a week and putts in his office. Like he doesn't even fucking work.
I'm just saying, dude, if it comes
He
down
might
to
do a speech here and there for fucking fundraiser. That's about it.
yeah, I'm just saying if it comes down to like if all we can do is elect 80-year-old men, shit, dude. One of them both of them who are of questionable moral character. It's like, I don't know. I mean,
It's
how
over.
much longer can we just keep electing absolute shitters? You know what I mean? And expect it to, like, say what you want about Barack Obama. I disagree with his policies and stuff, but at least he wasn't totally incompetent like the last two we've had. Like, just absolutely retarded.
He's definitely been the most. I'd just say this in the most broad of terms. He's been the most presidential we've had in a long time. He's
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
if you
in
think
our
of the
lifetime,
term, but if you think of the term presidential, like he kind of lived up to that. How he carried himself, he was a very well spoken individual.
because what were you? You were 93, right? Born in 93.
Yeah, I was probably, I think, 16 to 22 or whatever with Biden or with Obama.
Yeah, like in our living memory,
15 to 22 or something.
Yeah, in our living memory of actually realizing it, it's basically been, Bush, Barack, and then these two.
Well, George Bush, to me, I just picture George Bush as a cartoon character, essentially.
Is the first one, if we're talking about our whole lifetime where it's Bush Sr., then Clinton, then Bush, then Obama, and then, these two, I would say Bush Sr. is probably pretty presidential too, but he just got the wrong end of the stick. There was a third party guy running and it fucked him over. And then we got Clinton.
Wasn't he running the CIA? Didn't he like found it?
No, that was another guy, but he did. He wasn't
he head of the chief? Like he was director of the CIA?
No, yeah, he was at a certain point. I think in the 70s he was.
Yeah.
But that was when like the CIA was getting its act together because they did a lot of dirty shit in the 50s and 60s.
Was it though? Wasn't that when Desert
Storm?
No,
the 70s was when the church committee was, and that's when they
Desert
were deep
Storm
diving into it.
Yeah, that's when we learned how to hide shit.
Well, but Desert Storm that was when he was the president. Was when Desert Storm happened.
Right, and you still don't think he was fucking running the CIA, dude? You just don't step down.
Well, I mean, when you're the president, you run all those things, right?
Exactly. I don't know, man. There's some dirty game. There were some dirty games going on back before the internet. Back before now they're.
I think there's been dirty games going on for a long, long time before America.
But now they're super. Now they're super fucking good at hiding it. Or if they do get caught doing shit, they just fucking call it bots and trolls and whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Or discredit it, or just cancel you altogether. I mean, we
might have to go a little if we run out of time on Thursday, depending on what we do, we might have to go a little conspiratorial since we're talking about the CIA and shit.
I mean, we're already getting there. Look at us.
What did they really do? What have they not done? I mean, I know some stuff. What's the thing that Rogan's always on one where it's like some ultra thing where they were drugging black people? Yeah, they were drugging black people and letting them see what was going on. But that was
it wasn't just black people; it was just people in general.
Oh, whatever.
It was college students. They were drugging college students.
That was
a part of the yeah.
But dude, you can even go crazy about the January 6th stuff, where it's like, how many of those cats were probably the FBI more than the CIA? But yeah, it's like, how many of those cats? And listen, I mean, like, I think most of those people were normal people, and they did some fucked up shit. Because I think that's a horrible thing to storm the Capitol for anything, like anything. But like, dude, how many of those cats were like, like, why don't we know? Just like, why don't we know anything about the origins of COVID? Why don't we know anything about like what federal agents were in the crowd? Like, if it was such a big deal, like, why don't we know who those people were? Like, I mean, I understand the personal safety, but like, kind of.
Well, there's the video of the one dude yelling and telling everybody we need to storm the Capitol and all that shit, and apparently that guy was never charged with anything. Like,
yeah, and it's like, shouldn't they? Like, I'm not necessarily. Well, I'm not necessarily opposed for like the FBI being in the crowd just to like observe. But like, if you're actively trying to instigate the event,
Yeah,
should
that's
you
the
kind of
problem.
know who the fuck you are? Because like that to me is terrible. Like that's not good at all. You know, like again, the argument can be made to have a couple agents out there to just be there, right? But like to actually be like, yo, we got to get the fuck in here. Like, that's a little fucked up. But like
Well,
you said, it's a shady world out there.
an average citizen would be arrested for inciting a riot. Is what that would be.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
some of these cats are actually getting fucking jail or have gotten and are in jail. And it's like this
there's
dude
a
just gets
dude
away.
local to us. There's a dude local to us that was in jail for
Yeah.
it. Not like Parrish or some shit.
He's the guy that stole, or yeah, well, I guess it is stealing. He's the guy that stole Nancy Pelosi's like podium. He fucking just get down with it.
Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, like how did he think that was gonna end? You know what I mean? Like, and his wife, did you know? Like his wife's like a doctor and stuff.
Well, yeah, they live in Parrish, probably in a nice ass house. Like he
Yeah.
probably was. He probably was
what
doing
we-
pretty well for himself. Like I mean,
Yeah. It's like you just thought you were gonna bring a memento home from the fucking Capitol and nothing was gonna happen.
dude, people get brainwashed by this shit. You just watch so much of one thing, and you're like, if you just get fully involved in politics, bro, you're just gonna start getting crazy. Like,
bro, if you just watch CNN, MSNBC, or vice versa with Fox, if you just watch Fox or what is it, OWN, you're gonna have some out there thoughts more than likely because they ain't gonna tell you.
well, they have a narrative they're pushing, and they want you to. They do a pretty damn good job of pushing that narrative.
Yeah, where it's like, dude, obviously New York Times, they have a fucking narrative they're pushing, but at least they do it in a little bit better of a way. Like they're not like everyone's Satan. They're not great. Don't get me fucking wrong. Like I'm not some New York Times thumper, but
I don't pay for them, so I don't know what they say.
dude, you got to get it on Black Friday where it's like $4 a month. It's less than.
I'm not paying a dime for fucking newspapers. Fuck out of here. This is America. Free speech.
Yeah, get your. What does that even fucking mean? Get your MSN news. That's why you fucking people watch CNN and Fox News, the free shit, and they don't know anything.
I'd rather. So you're telling me that because you pay for it, you know more?
I don't think I necessarily know more. No, I'm not trying to say that, but you
think they
definitely
give
get
you more information because you pay for it?
Well, they definitely go into it more, no doubt. And here comes another fucking cloudy cloud coming through. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. This is like the 7th goddamn time. I'm gonna have to figure this shit out.
Yep.
And you said your internet was bad.
Yeah, I think we got a little something going here. We got a little dynamic we're working.
Yeah,
next show's going to be a little tougher with some lull in sports action. It's going to make it a little more challenging to
maybe
find
we
topics.
can
Might
preview
not
a
go as
couple
long.
of the playoff games. See who's actually hurt, who's not. Maybe Tua comes back. You never know.
Definitely do some previewing of games. We'll touch on maybe we'll start touching on some college basketball.
I was just about to say we got sports going on. I could give two shits about the NBA, but we can talk about that a little later.
That maybe comes up tomorrow when we discuss, or Thursday when we discuss college basketball. We discuss why we don't watch the NBA.
That's true. All right, so you want to wrap this up? We got another feather in the cap here. Episode 2 down.
Done. In the books. Lock it in.
All right. Well, everybody, Reed, Chase, you viewers out there. This is another episode, baby, of Always On in the books. We'll see you guys next time. Stop recording.